good afternoon to all the dignitaries present over here. The United Nations General Assembly has designated 2026 as the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists to enhance the rangeland management and the lives of pastoralists. The member states of UNCDD and other parties have intensified this drive towards accomplishing the Sustainable Development Goals and turning 2026 into a transformative event for the rangelands, pastoralists, and a healthy planet for the IYRP 2026. Now, more than half of the land area on Earth is made up of rangelands, and for millennium, communities have used pastoralism on rangelands to adapt to extremely variable climates, and over 2 billion people rely on this particular livestock value chain system and the foods of the pastoralists directly or indirectly. So, the most practical approach to managing these rangeland ecosystems for the benefit of the people and the environment is still pastoralism. So pastoralism on rangelands and farmlands, they provide the essential ecosystem, protecting the downstream areas from floods and drying of the rivers and conservation of the biodiversity. About 30% of the agricultural land carbon storage occurs in the rangelands, which are basically a large carbon reservoir. So in this case, realizing the Sustainable Development Goals that are 17 in number laid down by the United Nations and the national and the international pledges being taken across the world to reduce the climate change and the impact to prevent the Sustainable Development Goal, here the main objective and the nexus strategy of a particular workshop here will involve gender, health, education, water, food and economic growth to create the synergies between all the factors. So through the production of the livestock products, rangelands, sustainable development of the agro-pastoralist and the pastoralist, as well as providing a vital source for sovereignty and nutrition. So the 3 days workshop on rangeland management for the sustainable development is basically the bridging link between all the stakeholders who are present over here today. So basically the main objective is to leverage the ongoing government programs in the union territory and the schemes of different departments in different states of the India, and also for the sustainable rangeland management playing an important role in rural development. So to understand our priorities are to look at the present status of the rangelands and pastoralism in different parts of the India, including the mobility, the access to the natural resources, traditional knowledge, biodiversity conservation, and socio-economic status of the local communities. So to identify the main best practices and develop strategies and methodologies for mainstreaming the government schemes like MGNREGA towards participatory regeneration of pastures and commons and to improve the livelihoods. And the expected outcomes, as Sir discussed, it should not be only in the newspapers and not on the papers. So basically the expected outcome is to create an awareness of the objective that has been laid by IYRP towards the healthy rangeland and sustainable pastoralism communicated. And the PPP, the public-private partnership, for preparing the village development plan and developing the guidelines for protection and management of village commons, pastures, drinking water, and claims making the processes as per the FR 8 2006 to be better understood in this particular workshop, and generating the scientific understanding of the role of the rangelands and pastoralism and its contribution to climate change mitigation practices, biodiversity conservation, and the environmental services. So basically our workshop will include a representation from various organizations, as we see here, of state departments, scientists, academicians, researchers from different organizations. Technical sessions will include the participations of experts from India and also from abroad, pastoralist and the field visit that has been mentioned now. This workshop is basically expected to discuss the scope and challenges in rural development through rangeland and pastoral systems, and a pastoral census is the initial step towards a scientific and concrete planning for both rangeland management and rural development. So this community representation in this workshop today, along with the best practices coming from different parts of the country today, will be discussed in a workshop. And the subjects such as the sustainable rangelands for livelihood diversification and social protection, biodiversity conservation, and the government resources, scope and coverage of activities under MGNREGA conservation are expected to be covered in the next 3 days in the workshop. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Smruti Smita Mohapatra, for your comprehensive and insightful address on the agenda of our workshop. Your detailed outline of the objectives, priorities, and expected outcomes has provided us with a clear roadmap for the days ahead.